Hello and welcome to this month's newsletter. I'm Lisa Hudson, I'm a speech pathologist. Now, one of the questions I get all the time at the beginning of the year is, my child's about to start school and they can't say their S's properly. Should they be able to say their S properly at this age when they're about to start school? Lots of questions about that one. So I thought I'd unravel the mystery today. Essentially, when your child is starting school, they may not have an exactly correct S, all right? They may lisp. Now, the type of lisp they may do that's considered to be okay at this age is where the tongue just comes straight out between the front teeth. So they'll say thun instead of sun. That's a simple lisp that's pretty common in children who are about to start school. If your child is saying dun for sun or tun for sun, or if they have a lateral S, and by lateral I mean the air's flowing down the side of their mouth, thun, thun, then that's not so regular and needs to be checked out as soon as you can get someone to have a look at it. But a simple little lisp is. Having said that, the normative data suggests that the majority of children can do a good S by the age of 4.5. So when they get settled into school and they're still thun for sun, perhaps get them some help with that so you can get their speech all correct, ready for school. Other sounds that can be tricky for children when they're first starting school are L and R. They're related sounds. L comes in a little bit earlier, generally around 4 years. So if they're still saying W instead of L, like wine for lion or wetter for letter, perhaps get that checked out. R's come a little later, around 5 years. R's are tricky. Give them some time to settle in perhaps, then get that R sorted. In terms of them learning their phonics, having correct sounds really is quite important. And of course, now in that prep year at school, they start getting into their literacy straight away. And it really helps them a lot if they are actually saying their sounds correctly in the first place. So my little guy actually did start prep saying wetter for letter. And I thought to myself, I'll just let him settle, then we'll sort that out. But he came home on day 2 and he said, Mum, you've got to go and talk to Mrs. Puist because I drew a picture of a wobot and she made me put an R under it, but wobot starts with W and she put it on the wall and it's wrong. So I thought to myself, time to correct that R so he wasn't getting confused. Other sounds that they mightn't yet have are V. V's a little tricky, and the normative data suggests 6 years for V. So if you're sort of sneaking along a little bit in V, we're still saying video for video and vacuum for vacuum and gloves for gloves, then have a little look at that. And then the last sound to come in is TH. Now this presents a little bit of a challenge because when children start their prep year now, they're straight into sight words. And so many of the sight words are the, this, these, those, that, with, both. Lots of THs, and some children can get quite confused when they're looking at a TH saying an F and then there's a different word that has an F in it. And it can throw them a little bit. Normative data suggests about 8 years for TH to 8.5 years, which is quite late. If your child is wanting to get into those sight words and they're not quite getting them and their TH isn't correct, they might be saying thumb for thumb, then certainly get them some help with that. So to recap, when your child's starting school, they mightn't quite have a correct S, L, R, V or TH. Those are the sounds to listen for. And it might be quite okay for them to get going with those sounds being not quite right, but do monitor them. Check how they're going learning letters and sounds in prep and get them some help fairly quickly if you think they're going to show any signs of confusion, even though it is a little bit earlier than what the normative data says that they should be able to articulate. So I hope this clarifies a few things. If your child is having difficulty with any other sounds than the ones I've mentioned, most certainly start doing something about that pronto, because we'd like them to be starting school and certainly going into grade 1 with a really solid sound system to help them with their literacy. I hope this has been helpful. Until next month.